So I found a new plugin and it's pretty cool. It's called Solidus Randy 250 by Audioready. And before I do any more, I just want to say if you watched my SEV7 video, I'm using that right now. You know, usually I'm using the NT1, but figured I should kind of daily drive the V7 if I'm going to recommend it to people. And so far, I think it sounds great. But anyway, I found a new plugin. Seems to be pretty much a plug-in version of a Randall Century 200. It's pretty cool. It's got the little pre-EQ, like the 3-band parametric, like you'd see in Dimebag Darrell's rig. And then for the cabinets, I'm using Ola England's Dime IRs. I'm using the 102 on the right and the 57 on the left, and the volume is matched. And the blend is 50-50, and they're full panned. So whenever I play, it's... you know, pans over a bit. You dig? And then we're going to compare that to Amplitube, which is what, you know, most people usually use for this. Let's talk about the differences, the perks and not perks. The first thing, everything that I do for Amplitube, which this is essentially just the preset I had in the original Amplitube video, slightly modified. I can do it all within Amplitube itself with the amplifier and the EQ and all that. The Solidus Randy, I would do it in the plugin, but the out EQ is fucking dog shit. So I ended up just doing it with Pro Q. As for noise reduction, you can already hear there's some hiss with this. Lots of bass. Yeah, so that's what that sounds like. And you can hear there's a lot of that hum and hiss and lots of bass, man. But then what I like about the switching to Solidus here is all that hum and hiss is gone. Albeit there's a little bit of weird crackling. But I'm using Birdum denoiser before Solidus because the inbuilt gate is too, here, I'll show you. That's on M. If we put it all the way down, it gets tighter, but if I just use denoiser, it's much tighter. It's just the right amount of tight. So I prefer using Birdum for that. As for the EQ, I was going to originally follow the same idea as this one. No, I don't know what's the difference between these two, but these two modules here sound completely different than these. So I gave up on that. Obviously this thing is kind of, you don't need that. This is a shitty preset I made a while ago. Now I am doing, and I mean, I'll just include this. If you have this plugin or you want to go download it, I'll just include this preset in the description. As well, though, I'll have to include the Pro Q. I find that's kind of required. If I turn it off, it sounds like this. Put it on. You know, opens it up a bit to me, makes it more even. I like that a lot. Cab section, and this is also pretty cool. It's got this thing called Cab Res, which is added low end, and I like that. I cranked the shit out of that. I think it sounds great. You get a lot of features down here, like high pass and low pass and delay. So if you really wanted to do the stereo imaging, you know, you can do that. I'm avoiding that. I'm just panning it naturally with the slight differences between the IRs. That's as simple as it is right there. This does have an option for 2 different amplifiers. You can see it swaps to a whole different amp, which, I mean, this one's different. I don't use that. I use this one. But now whenever I do cleans, I do switch over to the clean channel of the Solidus Randy with a chorus and another bit, a EQ. And I'm a big fan of that. I think that sounds pretty good. There are a couple pros and cons. So the first major one for me is if I use Amplitube right now and I do one of those like squeals, it sounds pretty clear. With Solidus, there's a weird bit of like electrical warbly stuff. You can hear it. You know, it sounds like you're sweeping on like a radio or something, which is kind of, that's a drawback for me. I assume that has to do with the oversampling. There doesn't seem to be much, especially with how little CPU this uses. That's using almost nothing. So this is a very, very lightweight plugin. And so it does suffer from that. You know, it's very, I'm not a big fan of that. However, everything else, the difference in dynamics here. You know, if I switch back to that and I do that. I feel with this, the Solidus one, there's a lot more attack, in the sense that it's tighter, you know? You know, I like that. I think it's a lot better for like a mix idea. I barely had to do a whole lot to this. The EQ, it looks like much, but it's honestly not that much. Couple cuts and boosting the highs. I got a dynamic low end cut right here. So when I chug, that goes down a bit. Other than that, it's pretty clean. Now, if we switch over to Amplitube, we see I got a whole lot more going on, and it's not really required. I got the 6-band and the 3 in the little gate. I got 2 of the amps going, and they're both going into the same impulses, the 102 on the right and the 57 on the left. Then I have a bit of EQ after that. I don't know. You know, the Amplitube's cool, but I think this sounds cleaner and more full, you know. Of course, you can do the same with Amplitube, I'm sure. Obviously, it's a question of dialing it in the same. But what I do notice, and the reason I even bothered making this video, is I didn't have to do as much with the Solidus. I turned on the EQ in the plugin, dialed it in a bit, pretty fucking general turning of these dials. I barely touched the amp. It already had good settings on it. I threw some cabs in there, did a bit EQ, and I was set. You know, like it sounds good. And I got it set up on my MIDI, so I can switch between clean whenever I need to. You know? And it's nice and clean. I noticed the Amplitube, you know, it's possible with that too, but I don't know. Something about it just doesn't fit me. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I just wanted to show you this because I was fucking with it and I thought it was pretty neat. There's a computer sound. Thanks for watching.